Ready? Is the sound man okay? My voice is the conductor of my life.
It's such a great story and such an emotional story. Irene, what made you want to tell the story that Celine Dion uncovers in I Am Celine Dion?
I don't always know what my film is going to be about when I start, and in this case, I certainly did not. I did not realize Celine was sick when we started making the film. And so for a little while, I thought about all these different things we could do, but I really just trusted that if I just spent a few days with her when we started the filming process, I would find my answer, right? I would find my path. But shortly before we started filming, but after I had gotten to know her, I found out that she was sick. And at that time, it didn't have a name, and she was really going through an excruciating period where she was trying to nail down what the problem was. So I really decided that that was the focus of the film, was really just focusing very much on this very particular time in her life, where she was coming to terms with the fact that things would never be the same again for her. Learning possibly that she had an illness that was a one-way street, meaning she couldn't just recover from it, but maybe she could manage it. And so I think the film really became about her coming to terms with this new reality, and then with the wind at her back of who she is. And by that, I mean her love for music, her joy of singing, her love for her fans, her love for her children, you know, and being able to kind of bring all of that into the film to really show where she's at today.
In finding ways to manage and treat my condition, Dr. Piquet has delivered a very, very important result for me. She has replaced my fear with hope.
So Irene, what was the film initially? How was it initially conceived or pitched to you then if you didn't know about Miss Dion's illness?
Well, all you have to say is, are you interested to make a film about Celine Dion? And I didn't jump at it, but I was intrigued at it. I'm not a fan, like a fan would jump at it, right? But as a filmmaker who's very interested in character development, I was very encouraged by an early conversation I had with her when she asked if it would be possible to make a film where people didn't talk about her, but she got to talk about herself. Essentially, she wanted to be able to tell her own story. She wasn't afraid of what people would say about her, but she just had the time and the inclination to talk about where she was at and what was happening. So we decided, so that is when I really got engaged. I really got interested when she asked me that, because I thought that is really not something that a filmmaker is offered, that kind of openness. And when we started filming, I was really, I was affirmed that that's really what she meant, because from the first day forward, once I was in her home, it was very casual. We had access to every part of her home. If she was walking, we could simply follow her, both metaphorically and literally, through the hallways of her house.
What did you learn that surprised you the most about Miss Dion?
You know, I can't say that things surprised me about her, because she just is an essentially good human being. And so everything she did was like an outpouring of that. I think that I never was shocked by anything. I was shocked by how sick she was. But she had no control over that, you know? So it wasn't something that she did. It was the reality of her situation that I found, it took my breath away.
You know, I think you mentioned shocked, and I think some people watching the film are really going to be taken aback by some of what they see, and it's really emotional and it's hard. It'll be hard for some of her fans, I think, to take all that in. Did either you or Miss Dion worry about perhaps some of this is too much for her audience?
Well, I don't think it would affect a fan any differently than it would affect any person who has been touched by illness or a bodily condition that they cannot control or a disability. I think most of us have just a few degrees of separation from that in our own lives, even if we're not suffering ourselves. So I thought it was really important to meet Celine where she was at. She wanted authenticity. She did not want me to shy away from difficult moments, and she told me that. And she specifically said, don't ever ask me if it's okay to film something. Just film it, and if we need to talk about it later, we will. And I think that is how I like to work, but it's not always what I am offered. In this case, Celine was an excellent partner in that regard. And I really believe when you have so much to hide, making your subject feel more of a collaborator than just someone who's having the camera pointed at them. If you really let them know that you're both in this together, there's more, I think, of an ease to let the camera into your life. And I think that is what she was ready to do. I don't know that she's always been that ready, but she's ready now. She was ready.
Irene, what was it like capturing her singing again and hearing that voice that so many people have known and loved for decades, getting that all on film and hearing that again?
Yeah, I towards the end of the film, she really breaks out in this ultimate Celine Dion performance, in a gray wool sweater with her hair a little messy, and she's been very uncomfortable for the last hour, and she really gave what I would call the performance of her life.
We see one of Miss Dion going through one of her episodes, and it's really, really, really hard to watch that. What did you want to convey in those scenes?
I don't know that when I was filming, I wanted to convey anything. I'm a human being too, and I was also horrified. I was horrified at what I was witnessing, but I had a microphone in my hand and I was standing next to my compadre, my director of photography. And as with anything, we treated it like any other scene, like any other moment. We just kept the camera rolling, but we were very uncomfortable. And we, of course, were ready to drop the equipment at any time that our hands were needed. But there were people in the room who were professionals ready to take care of her. So instead, I thought it was a real teaching opportunity to be able to show to the world what this experience is like. And, just because you film something doesn't mean you have to put it in the film. But interestingly, Celine did not want me to shy away from that. And so we decided that it was really part of her story. I think if the whole film looked like that, it would be unbearable. But the whole film is really, hopefully, a combination of all these different tonalities, dark and light and happy and sad and profound and silly, and I think we really need to balance it. In order to show something like that to the world, you have to balance it so that it has context.
If I can't run, I'll walk. If I can't walk, I'll crawl. I won't stop. I won't stop.